Wow. Georgia just landed one of the top players in the entire transfer portal. This was not what I expected for today. We kind of saw some trends kind of leading towards a decision here. Didn't expect it today, didn't expect it this soon. Thought he would take some more visits first. But, anyways, before we do get into it, I want to thank all the Georgia fans for the support you guys showed me on the last few videos. Greatly appreciate it. We're going to keep the Georgia content coming. As you see, we got a new transfer portal update that just happened like less than an hour ago. So we're going to keep pumping these out as quick as possible. But I'm super excited to cover this one because I'm pretty familiar with this player. And I think he's one of the best players in the entire 2027 recruiting class. I think you just maybe got the best player in the entire class, although rankings probably won't say that. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So before we do start, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this pickup because if you're a Georgia fan, I'm sure you already know about it. And if not, drop a comment at the end of the video because I'm curious to see what Georgia fans think of this because you just got one of the best players in the entire class, like I just said. So, Georgia just went out, picked up Kemon Spell. Absolutely grand slam home run pickup for Georgia. If you're a Georgia fan, you should be absolutely thrilled for this one. Like I've said like four times already, you just got one of the best players in the entire recruiting class. I almost said transfer portal. But I'm going to kind of run some numbers by you that he did in high school, kind of run some stats by you. Not going to go too in depth, but really just let you know some things that you should probably know because I'm pretty familiar with Pennsylvania recruiting. So I know a good bit about Kemon Spell, but like I said, not going to go too in depth. Just kind of let you know what you should know. So Kemon Spell, five-star running back out of the 2027 recruiting class. As you can see, he is the number one running back in the nation. Obviously, like I just said, and he was one of the top prospects in the entire class. He's ranked number 7 nationally in the entire, not transfer portal. I'm so used to making transfer portal content. Ranked number 7 in the entire country in this recruiting class. He played high school at McNeesport High School in Pennsylvania. Was originally committed to Penn State before the firing of James Franklin, then later decommitted after Franklin was obviously fired. And then he had heavy interest from Notre Dame. You know, as soon as James Franklin was fired and Kemon Spell said, hey, Penn State's not school, or at least we don't know if Penn State's a school yet, he still had interest from Penn State. He had interest heavily from Notre Dame. Took a few visits to Notre Dame. Looked like Notre Dame was a lead school. I think he visited Georgia back then as well. So Georgia also became a top option for him. You saw a lot trending towards Kemon Spell to Georgia like a few months ago. And then I think after that came the Notre Dame visit. Seemed like Notre Dame would be the spot. He had two crystal balls, or he had a few crystal balls from Notre Dame. And then recently just went on a Penn State visit with the new coaching staff and Matt Campbell and the new running backs coach over at Penn State. And it seemed like Penn State was the lead runner again. You know, he received two crystal balls from Penn State on different platforms just like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. So it seemed like Penn State was the front runners. It seemed like Georgia kind of fell out of that conversation. And then I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, Kemon Spell he visits Florida, or not Florida. He visits Georgia again, and seems like Georgia's the front runners again. So his recruitment's kind of been all up and down. You've really seen mainly three schools in it. It's mainly been Notre Dame, Penn State, and Georgia. And Georgia just made a late swing at it and went out and landed him. You know, they made a big push for him. I don't know exactly what for sure brought him in. I mean, I'm sure you could really just point towards the productivity with guys like, I mean, I know this is way back, but guys who went to Georgia like Todd Gurley, guys who went to Georgia like James Cook, and some other guys. I mean, it's pretty easy to show a high school recruit guys that you've developed in the past or recent and really convince them to come over. I think that was a big part of him being pretty interested in Notre Dame as well because you just see what they did with Jeremiah Love. Then you look at what Penn State's done with like Saquon Barkley and Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. And also he's a guy in Pennsylvania. So obviously Penn State was gonna be they were gonna be in the battle to sign him. But ultimately Georgia came out on top. You know, like I said, he recently did get crystal balled to Penn State again. Georgia just made a really late push and ended up getting him. He is the number one Pennsylvania player in the class, by the way. Big high school production. If you look at his high school numbers, he's had 1,600 plus rushing yards, 20 plus touchdowns in last season, and He's a big, I can't even talk today. He's a big threat on special teams as well. You know, he shows a mix of speed. He has great vision for a high school running back. Good contact balance. You'll see him break out of tackles. You'll see him really, it's hard to take him down. It's pretty hard to take him down. And he's going to get involved in the receiving game as well. Like I said, he's going to wear down defenses. He runs really good in between the tackles, breaks tackles, like I said, extends runs after contact, which I think is going to be massive for any college player if that can translate over to the college level. And he's going to be very big on early down and short yardage situations. Really, those short yardage situations, I would say he's, if you look at his elusiveness, really good. Now, when he was committed to Penn State, a lot of people were saying, okay, this is like the next Saquon Barkley-esque player that's going to come out of Penn State. Just making those Penn State comparisons, not saying he's going to be Saquon Barkley. The potential is there. The potential is there. I mean, that's a very high comparison. So I'm not saying at all that he's going to be Saquon Barkley. But man, if there is anybody that looked that intriguing out of high school, it's probably Kemon Spell, in my opinion. He's This is a home run pickup for Georgia, man. I can't stress it enough. Hey, I'm a Penn State fan. I was really hoping we would sign Kemon Spell, obviously. But I live in Georgia. I live in Georgia. A lot of family over Pennsylvania. If you're a Georgia fan, you should be absolutely thrilled to get this guy. Trust me. Trust me. You know, he's going to work very good on the perimeter, and he's going to catch the ball away from his frame, which is going to, you know, he looks more like a receiver out there at times. When he's worked in the receiving game, he looks like a receiver out there. He's a weapon on screen concepts and checkdowns, which that's something that Georgia values really heavy, especially in a Mike Bobo offense. You know that Mike Bobo loves his little screen plays, and Kemon Spell might make those work a little better, or might make those work at a higher level. And like I said, great special teams threat. You're going to probably be able to use him pretty heavily on special teams, I would think. This is a guy who's going to push for early playing time. I know you're in a stacked running back room. You're at a school now that really invest heavy in the running back position. You know, you just got a few transfers in. You constantly recruit good running back talent because of the past development of a lot of running backs that did go to Georgia. As a true freshman, I could see him getting in some rotational packages. I think his skill set could really open up and create more backfield groupings for Kirby Smart, which is going to be huge. He's a future lead back for Georgia. This is going to be the next big running back out of Georgia, and I can almost assure that as long as he gets his playing time eventually, and as long as Georgia can maintain him and keep him away from the transfer portal, because you know how that stuff works nowadays. It don't even matter anymore if you're a big school. You still have that threat of losing top guys to the transfer portal. But I do think that Kemon Spell is gonna. I think he'll get involved pretty quickly. I'm not saying he's gonna get a workload of carries in his freshman year, but I do think he will get some touches in his freshman year and really show what he's capable of and really work into that role even more going into his later in the freshman year, maybe down to the playoffs if they do make it there, into his sophomore year. And I think he'll eventually be a very, very big player for Georgia because of his versatility, because of how explosive he is. I think you just got an absolutely incredible player. And like I've said many times, I think he's the best player in the entire class. So if you did enjoy this video, I greatly appreciate it if you did consider subscribing to the channel. I would greatly appreciate all the Georgia fans. Do show me some support again, because you guys have always shown me support. So yeah, a lot more Georgia content coming, because like I said, I do live in Georgia, so I'm kind of tapped in with Georgia football. I know what's going on because I hear it all around, and I pay some attention to Georgia. So yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.